everybody, and welcome to Let's Look at the Nightmare Cooperative. This is a game, it's a roguelike. And it's weird that I hesitated to say that, because I always say, oh, this is roguelike-ish, this is roguelike-ish. This is probably the game that you will take the least issue with me saying that it's a roguelike, because that's pretty much what it is. It's a top-down, turn-based dungeon crawler. Simplistic rules, clear rules, a very simplistic game as well, and it's interesting. We'll play a little bit of it, and I'll talk about it as we go along here. It's pretty easy to explain. I'm not the best player of it so far, but I should at least be able to explain the basic mechanics with some degree of experience, as I put about an hour into this so far. So, the way that the Nightmare Cooperative works, every screen is kind of like its own puzzle. On the right side, you have your HP and mana indicators. Red potions that you can see on our screen here replenish our HP. Blue potions replenish our mana. Every individual class that we have, and you can see that right now on screen there's like a ninja type character and then a cleric as well. The cleric is a healer, the ninja has like a move that allows him to dodge, basically. So by moving, we just move in one of the four cardinal directions, and then it causes all of our characters to move in the direction that we see fit. So our overarching goal, you can see, by the way, if we pick up a potion, it gives everybody 1 HP. If we pick up a mana potion, it gives everybody 1 mana. So it's not like it's segmented based on whoever picks it up. Your goal, and it might not seem like it right now, but your goal is pretty much just to survive and gain as much treasure as possible, and it becomes increasingly difficult as time goes on. It's less of like an action role-playing game and more of like a puzzle game, really, and that's not the wrong way to say that. It's very true. So on the early levels in particular, before you have a full party, which is around 4 members, I've never gotten more than 4 members anyway, you have the option to pick up more people to be part of your crew. So we have like a brute here, or a brawler, next to the ninja on the right side, and then, you know, a knight's moving chess away on the cleric's position. We have some unit that I've never seen before, which we cannot rescue. Instead, apparently, we absorb them. Because you can only choose to rescue one of the units. So I had to make a decision. Our goal, again, get as much treasure as possible. Every time we open a treasure chest, it has a couple of values associated with it. Let's try this. There we go, get a kill there. I'll talk about the combat mechanics in a second, but let me just move and get this HP. I'm a little concerned. You can probably see now that things, as time goes on, get a little bit more complicated, and it gets harder and harder to actually dodge out of the way of enemy shots here. So we want to do this. Oh, I accidentally walked my cleric into that acid pit, because the moves that you apply to one unit apply to all the other units as well, which can put you in a difficult position, especially when you're trying to, you know, not summon as many enemies as possible. Let's just try to leave this level. So we'll go left. There we go. We actually made it out of there with some HP, which is good. So yeah, there's this constant balancing between, like, I want to get as much treasure as possible to get a high score, versus I don't want to have to deal with that many enemies, because that can create an issue. Now, there is equipment as well. Every unit has 1 equipment slot. We kind of have like a Crypt of the Necrodancer style, I'll just use my special ability there. A Crypt of the Necrodancer style combat system where we want to make sure that we're hitting enemies first, and if possible, knocking them back so that we don't end up getting hurt that much. So let's look at combat. Let's try to get ourselves involved in some combat with, well, look at the very bottom here. There's a row that has my brawler as well as an enemy unit as well. So I'm going to come down here. Basically, if you attack an enemy, they attack you too unless they die. So you always attack first, at least as far as I've seen so far. But they're going to attack you for 1 HP as well. So as you can see, they took 1 damage, I took 1 damage. Now, this is a weird situation, because my cleric will get killed if I actually kill this unit in the bottom left, because that will require a move to the right, which will, unfortunately, move my cleric into harm's way. Oh, maybe it won't, actually. Sorry, no, that was foolish of me. And our cleric's really low on HP, so I have to be a little cautious about that. So let's use our cleric. Hopefully you understand the kind of, like, hit-for-hit nature of the combat there. Let me just come up here quickly, because I want to use my cleric's special ability, which is mapped to the spacebar here, to heal our brute. And there we go, they're healed up to full, and then we can heal our ninja as well up to full. That's the special ability of the cleric type character, is a heal, as you might expect. Now there is some, oh, no one's gonna get hit, okay. Let's try to break some of these turrets, so our life becomes a little bit easier in the long term. It's not as easy as you would think to actually get in here. We found ourselves in exactly the same position. Someone's gonna have to take damage. It'll be the ninja. He's got the HP to absorb it, so that's fine. Yeah, hit you like that. Did my ninja actually die? No, he teleported. Okay. Oh, I accidentally got my brawler killed. Come up here and get some mana. I accidentally got you hit. Like I said, I'm pretty bad at the Nightmare Cooperative so far. It's just very different from a lot of other games that I've played before in, you know, my previous encounters with the roguelike-ish genre. And again, this is probably the purest roguelike that I guess I've ever played on the channel. I might be forgetting some. So you got a hockey player there, apparently. That might be Death or something, or a necromancer if I had to guess. We'll encounter a variety of enemies as time goes on. This level is almost like a... Oh, that was terrible. Like a pseudo-puzzler type level. Because there is a switch puzzle, and we solved the switch puzzle already that allowed us to get that treasure, which gives us the most treasure, you know, per unit that I think you can get in the game. Oh, okay, we're down to 2 HP. For the most part, that's probably fine. Just have to be a little cautious here. Might as well kill as many enemies as possible. And then we'll try to bum rush the exit. Good. Okay, so we made it out of at least the first world. The game's subdivided into 3 or 4 different worlds, and basically, you know, each one has its own enemies and sometimes unique mechanics like ice blocks that you slide along and stuff like that. But for the most part, they're not that different, and it is worth noting that if you look at the Nightmare Cooperative, this is a totally jacked up situation here. If you look at the Nightmare Cooperative, like, I can't let them hit me first, and if I move into their square, they'll hit me first, so I'm dead. I just lost. Their logic overpowered me there. It's a very simplistic game, and it's a very short game as well. It's meant for, you know, replayability. It's got this nice kind of, like, meditative, zen-like sort of vibe to it. But at the same time, this is not as comprehensive as something like Dungeons of Dreadmore. It's not going to be as addictive as something like, you know, Desktop Dungeons or something like that. It's much more, you know, they say, like, lunch break roguelike. This is, like, your very much, like, lunch break roguelike type thing that you could play on, you know, an iOS device very, very easily, or, you know, any kind of mobile device very, very easily, which I don't mean as an insult, even though it might come across as one. Just try to get the people that need to go a place to get to that place. Yep, I got my unit killed. Very smart of me. But yeah, it's different than what I'm used to playing, which in a way is good because it expands my horizons, but at the same time, I found myself, not really super engaged. Oh, we're like an ice mancer. A sorcerer of the, you know, frozen water variety. Let's just leave here. But yeah, I find myself, maybe not as engaged as I would like to be, for the most part. Which is not to say that I'm finding this a bad game, just kind of, you know, different than the really robust, kind of roguelites that I guess I'm used to playing. But, you know, there are some very positive things to say. I really like the musical style. I really like the vibe that you get from this game, which is that it's, you know, again, not casual, but calm is the way that I would describe it. Kind of in the same way that a game like Perfection was, for example. Let's choose to rescue our warrior class here. There's just too many freaking enemies. The warrior class special ability allows them to hit twice, which is extremely important, as you might expect, considering that most enemies take 2 hits to kill. So it's very nice to have the ability to do that. So let's just try to get this treasure here. I don't think we're gonna find ourselves screwed, but I did almost get myself killed there, being a total idiot. And now we will escape, and I lived. Okay. So yeah, I just think, you know, for 10 bucks, a little bit too expensive. I really like the visual style. I really like some of the things about it, but for the most part, I don't necessarily find it as engaging as a lot of its competition. It reminds me a little bit more of a game like Famaze, which I played a couple of months ago, which I thought was alright, but, you know, not necessarily my cup of tea when it comes to the roguelike-ish genre. But I say that cognizant of the fact that there's probably a lot of people who will prefer this to, you know, the bastardization of the roguelike name, as some people see it. That has happened in the past few years, so I can totally understand that. Oh, good, I already lost my my archer character. That's solid. There goes my. How am I gonna do this? I know how I'm gonna do this. No, that's not how. There we go. That's how we're gonna do it. Why is everyone I love dying? That came out because of my voice crack a lot sadder than I meant it to be. We can probably make it through to the exit here anyway. Yeah, you know, I'm struggling a little bit with what to say, and you can probably tell that. Oh god, I got frozen in the ice. And it's because that, you know, I like the game, but at the same time, with the things that I don't like about it, I think are personal taste, if that makes sense. I do think that maybe it's a little bit expensive for the kind of, you know, robustness of the experience. That's something that, you know, your mileage may vary on. But if I'm saying that, I have a feeling that a lot of people probably feel that out there as well. Because I am typically not the kind of person who complains on like a price per value kind of level. Anyway, I'm gonna go over my strategy for actually getting further in the Nightmare Cooperative, because so far I've been terrible at actually any kind of success. So my typical strategy is to sneak everybody to our exit, and then just leave one unit back, and that unit is the unit that I'm going to use to gather up as much treasure as is humanly possible. And typically, if it's a ninja, that's excellent for me. You can find yourself in, I don't want to say unwinnable, but like really, really problematic situations. Mostly with things like acid pools. That creates a real issue. But sometimes if you just plan accordingly, you can kind of sneak your way out. I'm going to take damage here, but then I think I should be able to go. Yeah. Sometimes, you know, the more treasure chests you open, the more acid pools you spawn, and then there's sometimes no way to get to the exit without touching an acid pool. But that's the way the cookie crumbles, I suppose. Picked up some items here. There's no way to get anybody out in the order that I want them to, so let's just pick up this, get that staff. That probably gives us increased magic ability. I have no idea what the items actually do. Gonna use my magician special ability there, which is like a ranged magic attack. And then we're doing very well so far for party members and treasure. Of course, the more party members you get, the more difficult it actually is to succeed on a level, because, of course, I don't know if that's how I wanted to handle that. Of course, you know, your moves affect more individuals, basically. So, let's maybe... Is there any way I can... No, let's just take the ninja out first. Hey. Our cleric would be very useful as a healer, but that'll have to wait till the next turn. Let's see if we can rescue this treasure, then we'll get as much of the individual treasure as we can on our way out. So we'll grab this. That spawned a whole bunch of enemies. This, and then we begin the somewhat arduous process of sneaking our way out. But I think it's actually going to turn out very well for us. Good! That was fairly solid, and now that I'm playing with a little bit more, you know, strategy and acumen, the coffee's kicking in a little bit, I think maybe you can get a little bit more of a feel for how the game is not necessarily meant to be played, but how it's played when it's not played terribly. And admittedly, this is more of a puzzle game than, you know, The Binding of Isaac or Spelunky or something like that. That should be obvious. The AI is actually fairly solid for the most part, unfortunately. Yeah, sneak everybody to the exit. Maybe the archer can... the other treasure's too far away. Let's just leave. But yeah, so I should be taking things more slowly, but, you know, this is just my preference, is to play things quickly. We're going to use our cleric's ability to heal our magician a little bit. There we go. And we're using our special abilities as much as is humanly possible, but unfortunately I lost 2 crew members there. Oh, no, I didn't. I lost 1. The ninja just teleported. Alright, that was scary, but we made it work. No, okay. Wolfman, I really would like this treasure, though. Alright, so I'll kill you. I'll grab the safe treasure. And watch out for the lava, of course. And this should be fine. Sometimes you get trapped in there, and that's no good. But this might actually be the most treasure I've ever gained on a single run. So let's try to get some equipment for our units, if possible. I don't like when the ninja teleports to the other side of the map. Except in, like, truly evasive situations where that ends up being super important. Nobody's close to death here. We're actually all very good on HP. So I'm gonna try to use that to my advantage. I took a hit there on my sorcerer, but get 2 people out, and now I have a ninja here to just do recon and grab some treasure, which is lovely. I don't know what that is, but that won't help us anyway. So we'll get this, That spawned another enemy in my path, which is scary. Try to see how we get out of here without getting hit. We're gonna get hit here. It'll probably freeze us. Yep. Oh no, our ninja died in the process. At least they gained a lot of treasure. That's the most important thing, right? So we actually can bring a unit back to life here. Let's bring our brawler back to life, and then we lost 2 units in the process. Lovely. Oh, and then we lost 3 units in the process, and we're probably gonna die very soon. But there's not that many enemies on the screen. There is a angry yeti, but I should be able to outmaneuver them. Nope. Instead, I'm going to die. I tried, though. That was the best run that I've ever done. We'll do one more just at this point because I don't want to end up uploading like an 11-minute video. You can see like my best performance here ever was 1 level from the end. Basically, the way that I actually ended up making that happen was to, well, check out the main menu quickly, actually. Please, exit game. Don't actually exit, thank you. On the menu screen, you can see that there's like not much in the way of other modes. The play mode is pretty much what you see is what you get. Scores gives you your highest scores of all time. I can see, you know, how I am on my friends list. Seems like I'm the only person playing. What about global? So completing the game, 103 treasure. My stats don't seem that bad then. 55 treasure is like one of the... Yeah, 65 treasure. Wouldn't that make me like... 9th in the world or 8th in the world right now? That's not so bad. I could live with that. Man, you can totally get a party size much larger than I thought you could, by the way. Anyway, discoveries is basically, you know, like your notebook from the Binding of Isaac, your journal. We've discovered everything bad. We've not discovered all of the, well, we have everything except the challenge runs or the characters that you get for actually completing the game. So it looks like there's like a dwarf and, I don't know, some kind of super warrior or, you know, golfer in armor or something. I don't know. Anyway, we'll do one more here. Yeah, the previous save had 0 moves on it, so I don't really mind that. So yeah, it's a bit of a nifty game, but I think it's the kind of thing that you want to know what you're getting into, because, you know, in this day and age, and I know I'm a hypocrite because I'm guilty of complaining about this sometimes, but, you know, roguelike is a little bit more of a nebulous term. This is more of a traditional roguelike, I would say, from the limited experience that I have in that, you know, part of the genre. That being said, you know, no getting into this, that this is not going to be, you know, Spelunky-esque, this is not going to be like the Binding of Isaac. It's much more along the lines of something like Desktop Dungeon. I do think that it has some problems, some little complaints, let's put it that way. That was just 3 acid pits, which is actually great for me, because now I can sneak in here and grab this treasure easily, and probably same with that one. Yeah, that worked really well. Yeah, I think that its simplicity works in its advantage, but it does also cause complaints when you consider that, you know, the game's not expensive, but it's not necessarily cheap either. There we go, kill that. So, for its price, I think it's a little bit simplistic, and, I don't know. I also feel like it feels like there just could be more offered here, if that makes sense, and that's like the shittiest complaint of all time. I hate when people do games criticism like that, but I'm falling victim to my own, you know, hypocrisy here, as is not always, unusual for me. Something about it just doesn't really feel that engaging or addictive, you know, that pull that other roguelikes sometimes have. Or roguelites, and, you know, I know that this video is going to be a clusterfuck for comments like that already. But anyway, let's get out of here without getting anybody killed, preferably. Lots of people on low health. Should probably stop trying to get to the exit. How did you get killed? Like, I should be trying to get the potion instead. Oh, well, I botched that pretty miserably. Alright, let's try this song and dance again. Down, down, baby. Low street in a Range Rover. Boom, boom. Oh, no, I can't get out of this one. Well, we can do this and that. Okay, well, we can at least escape with 1 unit. As you can see, you know, my other complaint is that I'm bad at it. What are the positives that I think I have going on here? It's like a really calming experience, actually, even though, you know, dying is always stressful. I wonder if I can sneak out to this HP potion without getting caught. I totally can. We'll spawn those enemies and get that treasure and then leave. Yeah, and I think, like, from an audio-visual standpoint, it's got some really nice things going on. I think it's a really good-looking game, even though, I just took some dumb free damage there. Even though it's a little simplistic, I don't think that works in the game's detriment. I think it's actually a definite advantage. So I tried to get that HP potion, but I just couldn't, so let's just leave. So overall, it's okay, is my feeling here. I lost my... brute already. In a way, I almost feel like I do a lot better. We gotta go. With 1 unit, it's better offensively to have multiple units, but I want to rescue that unit. Oh, have I fucked myself? It appears that maybe I've fucked myself. Well, that'll do it then. Yeah. Yeah, I think I've said my piece in the game. I really wanted to wake up that archer. Maybe I should have just bumped into it earlier. That was a bad run on my part. But in any case, this is the Nightmare Cooperative. It's 10 bucks on Steam. You can pick it up if you're interested. Not necessarily my favorite roguelike-ish game of all time, but if you're into that more traditional desktop dungeon style, might be the kind of thing you'd want to check out. And if you do, there is a link in the video description below to pick it up on Steam. Of course, if you enjoyed the video, click the like button. It helps me out a great deal. And subscribe if you want to see more in the future. But for now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.